Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat Adonai. Welcome to the Sixth Exodus program. Thank you for listening. Today's segment is a slow reading of the law, starting with the book of Leviticus. I'm start with chapter 17, and I will read into chapter 20. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, and to all the people of Israel, and say unto them, This is the thing that the Lord has commanded. If any one of the house of Israel kills an ox, or a lamb, or a goat in the camp, or kills it outside the camp, and does not bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting to offer it as a gift unto the Lord in front of the tabernacle of the Lord, blood guilt shall be imputed to that man. He has shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. This is to the end that the people of Israel may bring their sacrifice, that they sacrifice in the open field, that they may bring them to the Lord, to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and sacrifice them as a sacrifice of peace offerings to the Lord. And the priest shall throw the blood on the altar of the Lord at the entrance of the tent of the meeting, and a burnt for the fat, and a pleasing aroma to the Lord. So they shall no more sacrifice their sacrifice to goats, demons, after whom they whore. Thus shall be a statute forever for them throughout their generations. And ye shall say unto them, Anyone in the house of Israel, or of the stranger who sojourns among them, who offers a burnt offering or sacrifice, and does not bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting to offer unto the Lord, that man shall be cut off from his people. If anyone in the house of Israel, or of the stranger who sojourns among them eats any blood, I will set my face against that person who eats blood, and will cut him off from amongst his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I will give it for you on the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh atonement by life. Therefore I have said to the people of Israel, No person among you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger who sojourns among you eat blood. Anyone also of the people of Israel, or of the strangers who sojourn amongst them, who takes in hunting any beast or bird that shall be eaten, shall pour out its blood, and cover it with earth. For life is in every creature, it is the blood. The blood is its life. Therefore I have said to the people of Israel, You shall not eat the blood of any creature, for the life in every creature is its blood. Whoever eats its blood shall be cut off. And every person who eats what dies of itself, or what is torn by beasts, whether he is a native or a sojourner, shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. then he shall be unclean. But if he does not wash them or bathe in flesh, he shall bear his iniquity. Chapter 18. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. You shall not do as they do in the land of Egypt, where you live, and you shall not do as they do in the land of Canaan, which I am to bring you to. You shall not walk in their statutes. You shall not follow. You shall follow my rules and keep my statutes and walk in them. I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my rules. If a person does them, he shall live by them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach any one of his close relatives to uncover the nakedness. I am the Lord. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father, which is the nakedness of your mother. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife. It is your father's nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your sister, your father's daughter, nor your mother's daughter, whether brought up in the family or in another home. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, for their nakedness is your own nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife daughter, brought up in your family, your father's family, since she is your sister. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's sister. She is your father's relative. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister, for she is the mother's relative. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's brother. This is, you shall not approach his wife. She is your aunt. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife. You shall not uncover her nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your brother's wife. It is your brother's nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of a woman, of her daughter, and you shall not take her son's daughter, nor her daughter's daughter, to uncover her nakedness. They are relatives. It is depravity. And you shall not take a woman as a rival wife to her sister, uncovering her nakedness while her sister is still alive. You shall not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness while she is in her menstrual uncleanness. You shall not lie sexually with your neighbor's wife and so make yourself unclean with her. You should not give any of your children to offer them to Molech and to profane the name of the Lord your God. For I am the Lord. You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination. And you shall not lie with any animal, and so make yourself unclean with it. Neither shall any woman give herself to an animal to lie with it. It is perversion. Do not make for yourself by any of these things, for by all these nations I have driven out before you, and have become unclean, and the land became unclean, so that I punish its iniquity, and the land vomited out its inhabitants. But you shall keep my statutes and my rules, and do none of these abominations, neither the natives nor the strangers who sojourn among you, for the people of the land who were before you did all these abominations, so that the land became unclean, lest the land vomit you when you make it unclean, as it vomits out the nations that was before you. For everyone who does any of these abominations, the person who do them shall be cut off from amongst their people. So keep my charge, never to practice any of these abomination customs that were practiced before you, and never to make yourself unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak to all the congregations of the people of Israel, and say unto them, Ye shall be holy, for the Lord your God am holy. Every one of you shall revere his mother and his father, and you shall keep my Sabbath. I am the Lord your God. Do not turn to idols, or make for yourselves any gods of cast metal, for I am your God. When you offer a sacrifice of peace offerings to the Lord, you shall offer it so that you may be accepted. It shall be eaten the same day you offer it, on the same day after. And if anything is left over until the third day, shall be burnt up with fire. For if it be eaten at all on the third day, it is tainted. It will not be accepted. And any one of you eats it shall bear its iniquity, because it is profane. What is holy to be the Lord, and that person shall be cut off from his people. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap your fields right at the edge, neither shall you gather the gleaning after your harvest. You shall not strip your vines bare, neither shall you gather the fallen grapes in your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and for the sojourner. I am the Lord your God. You shall not steal, and you shall not bear falsely. You shall not lie to one another. You shall not swear by my name falsely, and so profane my name, your God. I am your Lord. You shall not oppress your neighbor or rob him. The wages of a hard worker shall not remain with you all night until morning. You shall not curse the deaf by putting a stumbling block before the blind. You shall fear your God. I am the Lord. You shall do no injustice in court. You shall be partial to the poor, or defend the great. But in righteousness you shall judge your neighbor. You shall not go around as a slanderer among your people, and you shall not stand up against the life of your neighbor. I am the Lord. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall not reason frankly with your neighbor, lest you incur sin because of him. You shall not take vengeance or bear grudge against the sons of your own people. You shall not love your neighbor You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your cattle breed with different kinds. You shall not sow your fields with different kinds of seeds. You shall not wear a garment of cloth made of two kinds of material. If a man lies sexually with a woman who is a slave, assigned to another man, and not yet redeemed or given her freedom, a distinction shall be made. They shall not be put to death because she is not free, but he shall bring his compensation to the Lord, to the entrance of the tent of meeting, a ram for a guilt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him with a ram and an offering before the Lord for a sin that he has committed, and he shall be forgiven for the sin that he has committed. When you come into the land, a plant of every kind of the tree for food, you shall regard it as fruit, as forbidden. 3 years it shall be forbidden to you. It must not be eaten. And in the 4th year, all its fruits shall be holy, an offering of praise to the Lord. But in the 5th year, you may eat its fruits, to increase its fields for you. I am the Lord your God. You shall not eat any flesh with the blood in it. You shall not interpret omens or tell fortunes. You shall not round off your hair of your temples, nor mar the edges of your beards. You shall not make any cuts on your body for the dead, nor tattoos yourself, for I am the Lord. Do not profane your daughters by making her a prostitute, lest the land falls into prostitution and the land becomes full of depravity. You shall keep my Sabbath and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not turn to mediums and necromancers. Do not set them out. Do not seek them out, and so to make yourselves unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. You shall not stand up before gray head and honor the face of an old man. You shall face your God. You shall fear your God. I am the Lord. When a sojourner, a stranger, is with you into your lands, you shall not do him wrong. You shall treat the stranger who sojourns with you as a relative among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were a stranger in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. You shall do no wrong in the judgments and measurements of length or weight of quantity. You shall have just balances, just weights, a just ephod, and a just hin. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and you shall observe all my statutes and all my rules, and do them. I am the Lord. Chapter 20. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Say to the people of Israel, any one of the people of Israel, or the strangers who sojourns in Israel, who gives any of the children to Molech, shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I myself will set my face against that man, and will cut them off from among his people, because he has given one of his children to Moloch, to make my sanctuary unclean, and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do all close their eyes to that man, when he has given one of the children to Moloch, and do not put him to death, then I will set my face against that man, and against his clan, and will cut them off from amongst their people, him and all who follow him in working after Moloch. If a person turns to mediums and necromancers, whoring after them, I will set my face against that person, and will cut him off from among his people. Concentrate yourselves, therefore, and be holy, for I am the Lord your God. Keep my statutes and do them. I am the Lord who sanctifies you. For anyone who curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He has cursed his father or his mother, his blood shall be upon him. If a man commits adultery with his wife of his neighbors, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death. If a man lies with his father's wife, he has uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be put to death. Their blood is upon them. If a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have committed perversion. Their blood is upon them. If a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall be put to death. Their blood is upon them. If a man takes a woman and her mother also, it is depravity. He and they shall be burned with fire, that there be no more depravity among you. If a man lies with an animal, he shall surely be put to death, and you shall kill the animal. If a woman approaches any animals and lies with it, you shall kill the woman and the animal. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them. If a man take his sister, a daughter, and his father, or a daughter of his mother, and sees her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a disgrace, and they shall be cut off in the sight of their children, of their people. He has uncovered his sister nakedness, and he shall bear his iniquities. If a man lies with a woman during her menstrual period and uncovers her nakedness, he has made naked her fountain, and she has uncovered the fountain of her blood. Both of them shall be cut off from among their people. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister, or of your father's sister, for that is made naked one relative. They shall bear their iniquity. If a man lies with his uncle's wife, he has uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear the sins. They shall die childless. If a man takes his brother's wife, it is impurity. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. You shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my rules, and do them, that the land where I am bringing you to live may not vomit you out, and you shall not walk in the customs of the nations that I am driving you out before you. For they did all these things, and therefore I did detest them. But I have said to you, you shall inherit their land, and I will give it to you as a possession, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, who has separated you from the people. You shall therefore separate clean beasts from unclean, and unclean bird from clean. You shall not make for yourselves detestable by beast or by bird or by anything with which the ground crawls, which I have set apart from you to hold unclean. You shall be holy to me. For the Lord, I am holy. I have separated you from people, that you shall be mine. A man or a woman who is a medium or a necromancer shall be put to death. They shall be stoned with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. Chapter 21. And the Lord said unto Moses, Speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say unto them, No one shall himself unclean for the dead amongst his people, except his closest relatives, his mother, his father, his son, his daughter, his brother, or his virgin sister, who is near him, because she has had no husband. For her he make himself unclean. He shall not make himself unclean as a husband among his people, and so profane himself. They shall not make themselves bald patches on their heads, nor shave off the edges of their beards, nor make their cuts on their bodies. They shall be holy to their God, and not profane the name of the Lord their God. For their offers God offers unto God, and offer sacrifices unto the Lord their God. Therefore they shall be holy. They shall not marry a prostitute, or a woman who has been defiled, neither shall they marry a woman divorced from her husband. For the priest is holy to his God. You shall sanctify him, for he offers the bread of your God. He shall be holy unto you. For I, the Lord, who sanctifies you, am holy. And the daughter of any priest, if he profanes herself by whoring, profane her father, she shall be burned with fire. The priest, who is chief among you, his brothers, on whose head the anointing oil has been poured, and who has been consecrated to wear the garments, should not let their hair of their heads hang loose, nor tear his clothes. He shall not go into any dead bodies, nor make himself unclean, even to his fathers or to his mother. He shall not go out of the Lord thy God And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, When an ox or a sheep or goat is born, it shall remain 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day on it shall be accepted unto food or offering unto the Lord. But you shall not kill an ox or a sheep and her young in one day. And when you sacrifice a sacrifice of thanksgiving to the Lord, you shall sacrifice it so that you may be accepted. It shall be eaten on the same day. You shall leave none until morning. I am the Lord. So you shall keep my commandments and do them. I am the Lord, and you shall not profane my holy name, that I may be sanctified among the people of Israel. I am the Lord who sanctifies you, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord. The Lord spoke unto Moses, chapter 23. The Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the people of Israel, saying to them, These are the anointed feasts of the Lord that you shall proclaim as holy convocations. They are my appointed feasts. The Sabbath, 6 days shall work be done, but on the Sabbath day is a Sabbath, a solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work on it. A Sabbath to the Lord your God, dwelling places. The Passover. These are the appointed feasts of the Lord, the holy convocation, which you shall proclaim at the time appointed for them. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at twilight, it is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread to the Lord. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinance, but you shall present a food offering to the Lord for 7 days. On the seventh day is the holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel, and say unto them, When you come into the land that I have gave you to reap the harvest, ye shall bring the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest, and shall wave the sheaf before the Lord, so that you may be accepted. On the Sabbath day the priest shall wave it, and on the day when you wave your sheaf, you shall offer a lamb a year old without blemish, a burnt offering to the Lord, and a grain offering with it 2/10 of an ephah and fine flour mixed with oil, a food offering to the Lord with a pleasing aroma, and a drink offering with it shall be of wine, a fourth of hin, and you shall eat neither bread nor grain, preach or fresh, until this same day, until you have brought your offerings unto the Lord. It is a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. You shall count seven. You shall count 7 full days, 7 full weeks from the day after the Sabbath, from that day that you shall brought the sheaf of the leaves, the offerings, and you shall count 50 days after the Sabbath day. Then you shall present a grain offering of new grains to the Lord. You shall bring the dwelling places 2 loaves of bread to be woven, made of two tenths of an ephah. They shall be of fine flour, and they shall be with unleavened, the first fruits to the Lord. And you shall present with the bread 7 lambs a year old without blemish, and 1 bull from the herd of 2 rams. They shall be a burnt offering to the Lord with a grain offering, and to drink offering, a food with an offering of pleasing aroma to the Lord. And you shall offer a male goat for the sin offering, and 2 male lambs a year old as a sacrifice of offering. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the firstfruits, and wave a offering before the Lord with 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. And you shall be a proclamation. On the same day you shall hold a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. It is a statute forever in all your dwelling places throughout your generations. And when you reap the harvest in your land, you shall not reap the field right at its edges, nor shall you gather the gleanings after your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and for the sojourner. I am the Lord your God. The Feast of Trumpets. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you shall observe a day of solemn rest, a memorial, proclaimed with blasts of trumpets, a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. You shall present a food offering to the Lord. Day of Atonement. And the Lord said unto Moses, saying, Now on the 10th day of the 7th month, in the day of atonement, it shall be for you a holy convocation, and you shall afflict yourselves, and present a food offering to the Lord, and you shall not do any work on that day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whosoever is not afflicted on that very day shall be cut off from his people. And whosoever does not work on that day, that person I will destroy from among his people. You shall not do any work. It is a salute forever throughout your generations in all of your dwelling places. It shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest, and you shall afflict yourselves on the 9th day of the month, beginning at evening. From evening to evening shall you keep this your Sabbath. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel, saying, On the 15th day of the 7th month, and for the 7th day of the feast of booths to the Lord, on the first day of a holy convocation, you shall not do any ordinary work. For 7 days you shall present food offerings to the Lord. On the 8th day you shall hold a holy convocation, and present a food offering to the Lord. It is a solemn assembly. You shall not do any ordinary work. These are appointed feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim as times of holy convocation for representing to the Lord food offerings, burnt offerings, and grain offerings, sacrifices, and drink offerings, which is proper days besides the Lord's Sabbath, and besides your gifts, and besides your vow offering, besides your freewill offering, which you give to the Lord. On the 15th day of the seventh month, when you have gathered in the produce of the land, you shall celebrate the feast of the Lord 7 days. On the first day you shall have a solemn rest, and on the 8th day shall be a solemn rest. And you shall take the first day of the fruits, a splendid trees, branches, and palm trees, and broth of leafy trees, in the wilderness and of the brooks, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God. 7 days you shall celebrate it as a feast unto the Lord for 7 days in the year. It is a salute forever throughout your generations. You shall celebrate it in the seventh month. You shall dwell in booth for 7 days. All natives, Israelites, shall dwell in booth. That is, your generation may know that I have made the people of Israel dwell in booth when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. And I am the Lord your God. Thus Moses declared to the people of Israel and appointed the feast of the Lord. I'm going to stop there. Thank you for listening. Be blessed. We have really departed from the Word of God so much. It's painful to read.